Good morning, friends. Today we have a talk on the Christmas cycle, uh, followed followed by continuing a reading from the Book of Images after the first hour. And next Sunday until 11 a.m. we will have continue a study of the key to theosophy. And we meet at meets.google.com/ndp/thsi/mzon. So before we start to talk, we'll read the declaration and devotional reading. The policy of this lodge is independent devotion to the cause of theosophy without professing attachment to any theosophical organization. It is loyal to the great founders of the theosophical movement, but does not concern itself with dissensions or differences of individual opinion. The work it has on hand and the end it keeps in view are too absorbing and too lofty to leave it the time or inclination to take part in side issues. That work and that end is the dissemination of the fundamental principles of the philosophy of theosophy and the exemplification and practice of these principles through a truer realization of the self, a profounder conviction of universal brotherhood. It holds that the unassailable basis for union among theosophists, wherever and however situated, is similarity of aim, purpose, and teaching, and therefore has neither constitution, bylaws, nor officers, the sole bond between its associates being that basis. And it aims to disseminate this idea among theosophists in the furtherance of unity. It regards as theosophists all who are engaged in the true service of humanity without distinction of race, creed, sex, condition, or organization, and it welcomes to its association all those who are in accord with its declared purposes and who desire to fit themselves by study and otherwise to be the better able to help and teach others. The true theosophist belongs to no cult or sect, yet belongs to each and all. Now we'll do a brief devotional reading, and this is from the Bhagavad Gita, starting page 31. Krishna, both I and thou have passed through many births, O harasser of thy foes. Mine are known unto me, but thou knowest not of thine. Even though myself unborn, of changeless essence, and the Lord of all existence, yet in presiding over nature, which is mine, I am born but through my own Maya. I produce myself among creatures, O son of Bharata, whenever there is a decline of virtue and insurrection of vice and injustice in the world. And thus I incarnate from age to age for the preservation of the just, the destruction of the wicked, and the establishment of righteousness. Whoever, O Arjuna, knoweth my divine birth and actions to be even so, doth not, upon quitting his mortal frame, enter into another, for he entereth into me. Many who are free from craving, fear, and anger, filleth my spirit, who dependeth upon me, having been purified by the ascetic fire of knowledge, have entered into my being. In whatever way men approach me, in that way do I assist them. But whatever the path taken by mankind, that path is mine. And now we'll proceed to the talk.
What about the little paragraph on the
Quotation, sure.
Okay, yeah.
Also added to the devotional reading is a quotation from Robert Crosby. Savior after Savior has come to the earth for our benefit, but no one can give us any more benefit than to point to the truths that have been given all down the ages. We must take advantage of that knowledge and advance out of state in which we have placed ourselves.
So how the little paragraph, the winter solstice. I'll read it if you.
Sure.
Okay. You got it.
Yes.
Okay.
The circling path of time through starry spaces wide had turned earth toward the sun once more. And 'tis the Christmas tide. Toward light and life we move, with hearts refreshed we sing, the seed time of old earth renewed, to all this message bring. Goodwill to all that lives, a waking time of heart, in service that masses teach, rejoiceth ere depart. And this, the Christ in all men brothers be, one source of light and life and love, the soul's own radiancy.
Thank you. And today's talk is on the Christmas cycle. That's a very important part of the year between now and Christmas. So this will introduce us to that. We have, when we're talking about cycles, we have three aspects to the progression of cycles: cosmic, mystic, and individual. That's in slide 3. And number 2 is December 21 marks the winter solstice in the northern hemisphere this year, with the sun having completed its path southward and seeming to stand still as it starts the path northward. It was on December 21st that the ancients said the sun gods were down under the earth to help the souls, the seeds and plants, imprisoned there. Remaining there for 3 days, they came forth triumphant in all their glory on December 25. With this return of the sun, there was a spiritual, mental, and moral growth and uplifting, which would enable us to do much more than normal. There is a springtime among the lower kingdoms as well as among men. The astral light is new, and it will continue on until Easter. This recursive energy from the astral light is within each soul. So number 4, December 25 is a special celebration for all of life under the sun. The birthday of ancient gods, such as Mithra, the Zoroastrian sun god, and of Bacchus, the Roman god of wine and fertility. Also, December 25 was chosen as the birth of Jesus. But when we look at the historical records, we find no mention of Jesus Christ. HPB wrote that Jesus came 150 years prior to the historical era, and that Jesus' birth name was Joshua ben Parandiro. He came in the era of King Janus, not King Herod, as was popularly believed. King Janus persecuted the innocents like Jesus. Number 5, behind the sun, as behind every body or person, there is a spirit, life, and intelligence. So with the return of the sun comes a spiritual, a mental, a moral growth and uplifting. HPV tells us that ideas taken hold of and carried into session have 10 times greater power than normal between December 25 and April 12, which is about Easter time. Among the ancient peoples, ceremonies such as the season we are in now were very similar to the kind of art that we have today. We see in the secret doctrine that the symbol of the tree, as standing for various initiates, was almost universal. Jesus is called the tree of life, like all the adepts of the good law. Those of the left path were referred to as withering trees. So Christ is a cosmic as well as an individual term. The cosmic is also referred to as the Christ principle. It's number 6. At the peak of the triangle is ATMA, which is life, energy, and all that is everywhere and everything in every point of space. Its expression in human terms is the mystic Christ principle. The BUDDHI being the lower left side corner of that triangle, and the individual is represented by Jesus, which is Manas at the lower right-hand corner of the triangle. The Christ principle ray is within each human heart, so we all can become perfected. Be therefore perfect, even as your Father in heaven is perfect, says Matthew chapter 5, verse 48. He was companion to Jesus, Matthew was, and the first chapter of the New Testament is helpful in communicating Jesus' message. We humans have to retain this knowledge as we live this principle in our daily lives. We must walk the path of Christ as Christ did, though through our own self-deduced and self-devised methods. The secret doctrine says that each of us is 1 and 3, 3 and 1, Atma, Buddhi, and Manas. Number 7, salvation is through ourselves. This is a fundamental teaching. Every human has the Christ principle within itself in various stages of development. The secret doctrine tells us it is our responsibility to propagate the truth and allow the other hearts to perceive it. Number 8, compassionate energy is all around us and is magnified 10 times from Christmas to Easter. Number 9, Robert Crosby says that Christmas can come to us in our hearts. So we are coming to the season that we can once more rise with. The energy around us is at its peak, and we can rise with it. We have a spiritual impetus during this season as the astral world is rejuvenated in the mind and psychic fields. Therefore, number 10, if we follow an idea through the mind, its likelihood of success increases tenfold, whether it be charity or altruism giving, or trying to develop the Christ principle within ourselves. We've got to try, and try. Number 11, this is the primary time for us to elevate our internal yearnings, and aspirations. They reincarnate from life to life, thus indicating that the inner spiritual man is conscious at all times. These yearnings and aspirations show that we are truly immortal beings, not the sinful little creatures we may be led to believe. Number 12, in a mystery beyond human comprehension, the Christ story is both of the cosmos and of every human being. Jesus belongs to that great brotherhood of perfected beings. He came to the Jewish people not to establish a new religion, but to correct improprieties. He does not say to pray to him or any other entity outside of ourselves for salvation. He came to point us to the path that the great ones follow. Our identity is consubstantial with theirs. Like them, We are all the sons and daughters of the Father. So we are one with these wise men. They have become wise by obtaining spiritual knowledge, not of the brain, but of the heart. Number 13, quote, I am in the hearts of all men, says Krishna, speaking as a logos in the Bhagavad Gita. And then there's another quote, know ye not that ye are the temple of God, and that the Spirit of God dwelleth in you, as St. Paul. We must go through the material stages that we are in now, but emerge from them, bringing with us all the knowledge we have gained as we ascend towards spirituality. We are to pass on this knowledge to the kingdoms below us as we lift up matter. Mr. Judge tells us that our job is not only to lift up ourselves, but lift up all of life on this planet. Jesus was initiated into the mysteries of the Jewish temple in his early youth. And he later went to Egypt, where he was initiated into the Egyptian mysteries. Similarly, Tsongkhapa was given to the highest Egyptian hierophants when he was 3 years old, because he showed such great potential. Going to slide 4. Let's see if we can get that to go up. Let's go up here. Okay. The initiation process is talked about in Isis Unveiled. For example, on page 364, what are we doing the slides over here? Let's get it to operate correct, to stay where we put it. Okay, that's not okay. Now let's see if we can get it to stay there this time. The initiation process in Isis number 14 tells us in Isis Unveiled, there's a quote, in Egypt, every city of importance was separated from its burial place by a sacred lake. The same ceremony of judgment, which the Book of the Dead describes as taking place in the world of spirit, took place on earth during the burial of the mummy. 42 judges or assessors got together on the shore and judged the departed soul according to its actions within the body. And each was only upon a unanimous approval of this post-mortem journey that the boatman, who represented the spirit of death, could convey the defunct's body to its last resting place. After that, the priest returned within the sacred precincts and instructed the neophytes upon the probable solemn drama which was then taking place in the invisible realm whither the soul had fled. After preliminary trial at Thebes, where the neophyte had to pass through many trials called the 12 tortures, he was commanded to govern his passions and never lose for a moment the idea of his God. Number 15. The 5 major stages of the life of our Lord are passed through by every aspirant to perfection. First, from the nativity to the baptism, it reaches the person reaches puberty and deeper descent into matter. The transfiguration from the Son to the Father to the brother of man. The crucifixion, like divine life most deeply imprisoned in the deepest substance of the solar system, and the ascension of Christ, as recorded in the Gospels, portrayed by allegory and symbols the experiences of every human being who at any time finds the Master's feet. It is an inner process for us to follow, and is the birthright of every human to go through these stages and become self-conscious on a continuum. The Bhagavad Gita, the voice of the silence, the Bible, and other holy books are helpful to this end, but the real knowledge, the wisdom of the heart, can only be gained by living the guidance as we serve others. We must try consciously and willingly to do what Jesus and Buddha did. Zoroaster and Mohammed also accepted this responsibility. This willingness is a mark of a soul trying to free itself from materiality. We are the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, all three within us. We are going to understand and perfect that power within through use of that power in our daily lives among the brotherhood of man. Going to number 5. Let's see. Behave. Let's see. Okay, let's see if it'll stay there now. Okay, number 16. The ancient message of the Gnostics is the same message upon which Christianity and modern religions are based, and it is the message of theosophy. In the context of Christianity, the first key that one has to use to unravel the dark secrets of the mystery name of Christ is a key which unlocks the door to the ancient mysteries of the primitives. This message was supplanted by the early Christian leaders, but bits of the message remain. We learned that the gospel, from the gospel of according to Luke, that the worthy were those who had been initiated into the mysteries of the gnosis, and who were counted worthy to obtain that resurrection from the dead in the life, in this life, to the life of spirit. They were the greater depths. The words apply to all of us who strive and succeed through personal efforts to live the life and to attain the naturally and spiritual illumination in blending our personality of the Son with our individual divine spirit, God within. Number 17. One who strives to blend his personality with their individual divine spirit and do the will of that spirit is a Christ man. On the other hand, those who choose to ignore the Christ within themselves must die heathens, notwithstanding all the rituals in which they participate, like baptism, sacraments, and lip prayers, and belief in dogmas. The current generations are questioning more and more of the literal interpretations that are out of step with the laws of nature, thus causing religions with their separatist teachings to revise their efforts to maintain dogmatic hold over the people. The more one studies the ancient religious texts, the more one finds that the groundwork of the New Testament is the same as the groundwork of the Vedas, of the Egyptian theology, and the Messianian allegories. Number 18. The terms Christ and Christians were well known centuries before the Christian era. They were simply borrowed by the later Christians from the terminology of the pagans. The word Christos meant the way or the path. When the Christos addressed his master, he said, "Thou art the path." After the disciple had been initiated himself, these same words were repeated to him by his teacher. "I am the way," said Jesus after he had become a Christos. "Thou canst not travel on the path until thou hast become the path itself," says the voice of the silence. And HBV reiterated what she said to her pupils, quote, "Do not follow me, follow the path I show," or "Do not follow my personality, follow the Christos principle within yourselves, the only light on the path that really exists." Chief among the delusions of our own age is the Jesus image. "Be ye perfect," he taught, "even as your Father which is in heaven is perfect." Number 19. Jesus came to spread the tidings of salvation through self-knowledge. Yet some have affirmed in his name that knowledge is unattainable and that all hope lies in blind belief. He came not to deny the law, but to fulfill it. Yet some turned his mission into a unique event which made belief in law impossible. He came to demonstrate the Christ in all, yet so misdirected were intermediaries who followed him that few have been able to identify themselves with the Christ ideal. Number 20. We have concretized Jesus and imprisoned him by claiming that we can only reach salvation through this individuality. The sacred doctrine says it is our responsibility to promulgate the truth and allow other hearts to perceive it. HPV points out that Christ, the true esoteric Savior, is no man, but the divine principle in every human being. He who strives to resurrect the spirit crucified him by his own terrestrial passions and buried deep in his sepulchre of his sinful flesh, he who has the strength to roll back the stone of matter from the door of his own inner sanctuary, he has the risen Christ in him, whether he's called a heathen or Christian by birth. The Theosophists refuse to materialize and degrade that which is the purest and grandest ideal, the symbol of symbols, namely the immortal divine spirit in man, whether he be called Horus, Krishna, Buddha, or Christ. So Christmas is a season of birth, growth, and the rebirth of the spiritual nature. We seem to carry on with the observances in some shape or form, but we have lost the knowledge we had. We have forgotten we do not apply to ourselves the fact of the recurrence of this real Christmas time, the season not only of the physical renewal of earth and all beings, but also a return of the inner life and of impulse of a spiritual nature. Number 21. As Easter is a celebration of the ascension of spirit into outer matter, Christmas is a time when spirit is fully descended into matter and is ripe to spread throughout that matter. Christmas is just a time of rebirth. The life of earth is young, and the inner life has its rejuvenance and its growth. And as the Christmas season, at the Christmas season, when the latent rebirth of God in man swells as a seed in spring beneath the snow, there is an outpouring of the heart which meets and joins the larger rhythm of great nature. At the present time, our discoveries, our science, our religion, our social and natural life are too focused on material things, or things represented by the lower self. The more the self-conscious man has gone into matter, the more he has closed the spiritual doors, because his self-conscious and energy have been put into terrestrial objective things. Number 22. But we must go through these stages and emerge from them, bringing with us all the knowledge gained while immersed in matter. For us, societal procession has prevailed through many centuries. We're living in the Iron Age, which was preceded by better ages known as the Golden, the Silver, and the Bronze Ages. The Orange Age is an age of spiritual darkness. Not only must we pass through it, but we must start a new golden era age with all that we have gained. Number 23, for upward progress, we must form a unity and work our way out of the age of spiritual darkness. We must use our experiences in this and prior lives to start the golden age. We must use this knowledge to uplift all of the lives that occupy the lower kingdoms. Those humans also, fellow humans, less developed than us, also the animal kingdom below them, and the vegetable kingdom, and the mineral kingdom. 124. We must impart our feelings and understandings to the kingdoms below us. Then when we move up the scale of being, that matter too will be lifted up and become more fitting for use. We are made up of atoms and give off skandhas, which are building blocks of our universe, as well as our own constitution. HPB tells us to point the atoms upwards with our thoughts and actions. We can affect them as they have psycho-spiritual aspects within them. Elementals are the souls of the atoms. We can energize them and make them beneficent to humanity, as HPB tells us that we and the next generations will use them. There is only one life, and our positive outlook within it can help bring on the old golden age. As there are tides that this energy is available to us, there are also these tides available to nations and races under cyclic law. Going on to slide 6. See if we can get it to stay there now. Number 25. Christmas is in the springtime of the occult world, the world of gods and heroes, saviors of mankind. Then eyes shine with a light of wider sympathy and kindness, and minds expand with the spirit of giving of the heart itself, giving of service, of love, of brotherhood, of inward thought that makes for good, a giving open to all, however poor our personal circumstances may be. It is the feeling and thought in our hearts which reach people and stirs their hearts to a better perception, a better feeling, a wider and stronger action. For all our hearts are based on the same one life. We draw all our power and forces from that one life. Let us take advantage of the researchers of the spiritual, mental, and moral forces that come during the Christmas cycle. And with this, we wish you all a most productive and Merry Christmas cycle through Easter. And that's the end of my prepared message, or maybe I've prompted some questions.
You mentioned that we must consciously and willingly do as Jesus and Buddha did. And I'm just wondering how much the will comes into play at this time of year. Taking conscious steps to do, to act for and as the self of all, and invoking the will is what we need, is one of the things we need to do.
The will is critical. Behind the will stands desire, so they work hand in hand. But you have to have the desire to do it and the will to carry that out. And without that, you don't make progress. I don't think. And it has to be in the right direction, of course.
Would you think that the will, because this is part of the program of nature, the will is more effective or more vitalized at this time of year? Or, I mean, perhaps we don't know, but
well, it's spread out. It's 10 times greater, and every brief breath we take has that within us, as well as the our internal selves and all that. So that it's a supportive part. It's HPV saying that it's 10 times greater, meaning that it's all there. Is everything in, every breath we take, and every plan and so forth has access to the. I think of it as access to all of these things, but we have to take advantage of it. It's an individual process, because we can take advantage of it for good or bad, too. And we have, like I said, it says that we have the good adepts and the bad. I don't know what you call them, adepts or not, but those who have taken advantage of that to hinder our lifestyle. I don't know why anybody would do something like that, but we do have those among us too.
So, Herb, in your initial part of the talk, you mentioned the triangle, the ATMA, Christ, Buddhi, Christ, and Jesus. So does that mean that Jesus or is a neophyte who then becomes the Christ Buddhi by, through union with Buddhi, or is that, could you explain a little more on how Jesus became Christ?
Well, other than the process that we went through, which we have to push ourselves to go through that process, because it's not going to happen automatically, and we have to go through it in the right way to go through that process. I mentioned it so a couple of different ways. The old Egyptians had their process, and which is the same as the ascension in the process. That also, let me go back to that slide.
If I may say something,
Yeah.
we really don't know through the New Testament what the process was, because that part of Christ, Jesus Christ's lifespan was not included in the Gospels. We know him. We know of Jesus when he was a child, and then when he was baptized. But all those years perhaps were not included in the new Gospels on purpose, so we can find our own path.
Yeah, we have to find our own path. I think that the Jesus story is far more than just one person. It says it's far more than we can comprehend as human beings. And the process it tells us in the Bible is that process we go through. And yeah, Jesus went through that process, but it's not recorded to one person. In fact, we didn't even know his name until HPB came along and told us that that's why history and the spiritual side don't go together. We thought he came then when Herod was king, but he actually came before them in Janus. And that's if we compare those two, that seems to jive according to my research anyhow. In fact, I'm sure it does, because HPV wouldn't have said that otherwise. But if we try to make that one person, we can lose it. This is not one person. This is the story of our lives.
So symbolically, Jesus represents a neophyte. Is that correct? And then all of us are neophytes. Christ is Buddhi, right? So the union of the manas with the Buddhi is when the Christ rises in us. Is that one way of looking at it?
Yeah, the union of when you get to that point, the way I understand it is we have the lower and the higher. We studied it in Theosophy. We have the lower four. The lower four goes way. I understand it. When you join the Buddhi and the manas, Buddhi being the vehicle of the ATMA, in the manas, you join that, then that all is one thing, and it becomes it's a triangle. When even the highest level is a triangle. But once you become the all, the Atma, that level where you can't tell the difference between Atma and the person, then that is they say that the sign is so sacred until they don't tell you, they give you a straight line. It's way above our comprehension. But that's why, when we look at the threefold nature of the first fundamental. That first fundamental says, that's beyond your comprehension. But we can figure out a lot by being able to use our mind as we have it. But you've got to realize that there's so much more that we still have to go.
Herb, a question. Are we to take the stages that Jesus Christ went through from nativity to crucifixion as stages for one lifetime or for many? Because
this is probably
several
many.
Yeah. Depends on the individual.
How much we put effort we put into it
Yeah,
from
okay.
life but nobody, I don't think anybody would ever do this in one lifetime.
How are we going to interpret the fiction in an individual level? Is that the shedding of attachments, or what type of sacrifices in this modern lifetime means the crucifixion?
Well, the first thing we keep hearing about is our selfishness, material attachment to material.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. We got to let that go, and once we totally let it go, then we're there. Which is extremely difficult to do. We like new cars and new houses and whatever else. We like to eat, be able to eat at a certain time and things like that. And we got to let go of all that and live for all around us. And there's a lot of judgment we have to make in the process. We have to not only make those judgments, but then live what we know is right. Cool. We got a few more minutes. We got 10 more minutes. I think that this fits to this understanding, right? We have been so indoctrinated, we have been all of my life anyhow, until it takes a lot of undoing before we can really do, before we can get to the understanding the concept that that's laid out for us that we got to learn. And it's because of the human nature, and the human nature is there to teach us all this stuff. If we didn't, we have to go down in the materiality and go through all this just to be able to understand it. And this person doesn't understand it right now. It's a matter of living living the life and trying to live the life, because right now, with our current understanding, we're gonna make mistakes, and just have to accept that. We have to do the best we can at the moment with what we have to do it with, and try to learn and keep on trucking. So that's what I don't know. That's what I keep telling myself.
I
At
have a
this
question,
point,
Herb.
I have learned this much, and that's what I'm going to apply.
Have a question. You had mentioned that the astral life of the earth is young at this time of year. It's rejuvenated at this time of year. And you also mentioned that compassionate energy is all around us and is magnified.
Yeah.
Could we say that the astral plane has compassion in it, or is compassion in all of the universal laws? Or
Do you want the students understanding that astral is where most of life is about? Because when we get to the physical side, we are pretty much set for that life. But the astral side is helps us to grow, because it's not solidified so much yet, and that's why Theosophy emphasizes that kind of teaching. It talks about elementals and how it impacts on the elementals, and the elementals would not be in human form for what million I don't know, many years, many lifetimes. But that's the evolution that it goes through. So again, it's a matter of living today, doing what you can, and let it go. Trying to learn from your lessons from the day to do better tomorrow.
yeah, just this talk made me think of the astral light as compassion. I hadn't thought of it that way before, but because it seems like when it reflects back to us bad karma, it's negative, but that's a quality we assign to it. But simply by reflecting back whatever we put out, it does seem that is compassionate in a way, to show you what you're doing, where you're at, so to speak.
That's what karma is, right? Karma is there to help us grow. And we make our own karma. And it's hard to realize that, but sometimes the fact that we always are facing the karma that we need, good or bad. And we do have we sometimes, like you suggested, overlook the good karma, but that's there too. And that's what we were talking about, the golden age, I believe. Well, the thing that turn this off. I'm in a meeting right now. I'll give you a call. Okay? Okay. Bye. We can we have to think karma is neither good nor bad. It promptly gives us the opportunity to grow. If we have to think of it that way. Sometimes we got a kick in the pants, you know. So
I think it would be helpful to think of the astral as being compassionate, but also, you know, the voice of silence gives us lots of warnings, you know, not to get ensnared and things like that. So, yeah.
yeah, it's a continuous challenge that we have to stay in balance. That's what karma does, right? Helps us stay in balance, or you know, we learn lessons to keep us in balance, I guess. Sorry for that phone call. But, yeah. We got another minute or two for. I mean, karma is a separate talk all on its own. In fact, it's more than just one talk. Just to give you an idea what trauma is, takes a good hour to talk or more. Just to realize that, yeah, because when we first hear about karma, it's always that negative. But to realize that we make our own karma, it takes some rethinking.
I think Mr. Judd said somewhere that only mind comes back to me. So it's basically our own thoughts, deeds, and actions. But there are also, as you said, there are also lessons to be learned in that. That's a deeper aspect.
Yeah.
Karma.
Yeah, and just to think about, you know, that the perfected beings are no different than we are, in essence. And they've gone through this, so they're examples of that we can look to. See, if they can do it, we can do it. And we are so far behind sometimes that it's hard to picture us being in that position, but that's where we're headed if we keep on trying.
Yes.
We can't do it. Can't try for an hour and then forget about it for a week. We got to try for that every day, a minute.
Well, thank you very much.
What's that, Kathy?
Oh, just thank you very much. It was so interesting.
Thank you. And we could take a few minutes break and continue with our study on the Book of Images. That's turned out to be a very interesting study too. So, okay.
Thank you, Herb.
A few minutes.
Thank you.
Bye.